is the KCIW 100.7 radio station in Brookings, Oregon. I am Amanda Whittemore. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Quality Living with Peaceful Support. A lot of us might think, what is that? And that is exactly what we're here to talk about. What is quality living? How do we find it? Where does it come from? Can we encourage it? It's all a matter of choice, I really believe, and I practice that through yoga. You can find me at Reps Gym or the Chetco Activity Center, which we are so grateful to have here in Brookings. And with Brookings, it's a unique place, and we have so many beautiful people, just the highest of spirits and the best of quality I've seen anywhere, and with full support. And I'm so grateful to be here, especially with our guests that we have in the studio right now. A lot of you might have heard these names before or met them in person, and we'll get to the gushy, yummy, good stuff. We have Mr. Noah Bruce. How are you?
How's it going? Doing good.
Yeah, right on. And we have Angelleyana
Bresee.
Angelleyana Bresee.
Hi.
Hey, love. Mm-hmm.
My friends call me all kinds of Angelique and everything else.
Okay.
Angelique. Different versions for my whole life, so.
Okay. Yeah. And so, thank you for being in the studio today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Tell the listeners, those who are tuning in, so this station is aired locally, and it's also, once we air it, it becomes a podcast, and it's available online to every phone in the world, every country, every nation. So that's our audience.
Wow. Impressive.
Awesome.
Yes.
Hope we can help somebody. Somebody gets uplifted.
Yes. So where are you guys right now other than in the studio?
Do I lead or do you get a lead? Because we know you're going to take over, so I'll just lead.
Okay, yeah.
So we're going back and forth between Maui right now and Brookings and some Chico.
Uh-huh.
We have a kind of a retreat set up in Chico, which you've been to.
Yes, yeah.
And then we have the property I have here in Brookings, Oregon, down by the border.
Yes.
And we're trying to get something nice set up over in Maui so that we can do some healing modalities over there.
When you say retreat, our listeners' ears probably perk up. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I'll let Angelleyana expand on this part because it's just in the beginning phases of, the properties have been retreats, the one in Chico, but go ahead.
So we have two properties because we're engaged and we had separate lives, and I'm 43, and so Noah, he's 51 now, and
way to expose me on the radio.
Oops, ouch. But
so we both look 19, in case anybody's wondering.
Thank you, Amanda. You're sweet. So we have both magically acquired, in our lives, long, hard, lots of work, lots of physical labor, putting in and saving and making things happen. We have a 21-acre place in Chico with lots of units and cabins that was a kids' camp, and it had a lot of different retreat facets, and we've been revamping the property and modernizing and remodeling and finishing and making it an actual usable space for all kinds of offerings.
Okay.
With koi ponds and a swimming pool, and it's really beautiful. And then we have a retreat property here as well with 3 units. But it could sleep 18, I think, something like that in the one house. And there's 3 ponds on site with a natural creek and another lotus pond. So they're very similar in ways, and the nature is a big deal. They both have pine trees around them, the retreats, and they're both custom craftsman wood and stone kind of homes that we've done a lot of work on to make them
in the natural setting.
Yeah, to make them a little more, modern and polished from the rustic states they were in.
Posh.
A little more posh, just a better offering for people, yeah.
Yes, luxurious. I honestly would, from my experience, would say very luxurious.
I like comfort.
It feels good when you're surrounded by nice things. It just does. nice people.
I prefer nature.
Right.
And
well, that is
so that's
part of
why
the nice thing.
Brookings and Maui, they both have
Totally.
great nature.
Yes, that's the nice part. Is that it's in its setting, it's natural, it feels part of the property, the creations that you guys have happening.
I would agree.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into creating these retreat centers?
It was honestly the only owner-carry property I could afford at the time, and it just happened to not be lendable when I got it, and I just had my taxes in order and all my credibility to get a loan, and this like easy property transfer came right to my lap. Friends called, "You have to look at this." And, I'd been saving for, my whole life to get into my first time purchase, and here was this 7 cabins, 21 acres, kind of in disrepair place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I got into mine before Noah came into my life, and I've been working on it since.
And then she kind of forced me into mine.
Okay. Showed you what the best idea it was.
She didn't like the house I had on the jetty with the real pleasant neighborhood, so
It was too perfect.
we had
Everything
to
done.
move away from all that and go into the country.
There's no yard and lots of everything done. I felt like a princess in a cement castle, and I was like, okay, like there's nothing to do here. Can't we like get into something funky that we can remodel and like tear apart and make lots of work for ourselves? And he's like, okay. Good. In nature with lots of pine trees. And I like a buffering zone from the frequencies of the cell towers and those types of things, and exhaust and pollution in the air. And the trees are the earth's lungs. So I actually started getting sick, just too much Wi-Fi in the subdivision we were in. Mm-hmm. And I needed to get away because I'm highly sensitive. Mm-hmm. And so we found the 6 acres here in Brookings that gave us everything, and still close to town.
Good.
Beautiful sunlit, forest right across from the ocean.
Yes.
And it's a vacation rental now, so anyone can bring their family here and have their, family reunion and rent it on Airbnb.
Smart.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, when we're not home.
Totally accessible. So we like to know how they can find you.
Well,
how can our listeners access you guys?
Access us or the
access the
we
property?
could put the links in the show if you want.
Okay, yes.
Because we have the Chico retreat. There's like 8 listings, and then there's 3 here.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, the Fairy Pond, the Angel's Nest, and the Executive Retreat are here in Brookings. And in Chico, we have Jasmine Bungalow, the Lotus Pod, the Sunrise, the Manzanita, the Artist Studio, the Upper Den and the Lower Den of the Lion's Den, and the Shaman's Lodge. And the temple is the gathering hall when we do, like, if you want wedding or other kinds of events.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
This is so exciting.
We've been doing a little bit of yoga since we've been in Maui. We're finally getting into that flow.
All right.
We've been shown that, I'll let you expand on that.
Yoga awakens our genetics. Like, we have, how do you call it, dormant genetics. Mm-hmm. And we are epigenetic beings. We are awakening all the time and changing our genetic code sequences depending on our activities. Mm-hmm. So yoga awakens dormant genes, which is epigenetics from our lifestyle choices. So we are actually, part of our choice to be in Maui was the study of yoga and the availability that we have there with a really lovely teacher in Hatha Yoga, who just is a saint, and he offers this class 3 days a week. So, and then we do it on our own with our friends from the class. The other days of the week, we gather on the beach or on our deck.
So we've been working on a few other forms of just self-healing. One of them, we've changed up our diet. Maybe you can explain that also for the audience so that other people can get on track with being healthier.
Cellular memory awakening.
Yeah, and I'm come from a long lineage of like health food. I worked in the first health food stores that even had the word organic before it was a word. Right. We started seeing the milk on the shelves, rice milk, et cetera, coming in organic, soy milk at the time. So I'm really familiar with the health food industry from the 80s on. I was born in 1981. And my mother and father, my dad was the contractor that built the health food stores for the Good Earth in Provo, Utah. And my mom studied with Dr. Christopher at his herb shop in the mall, in the Orem Mall. So she started with him before Nature's Way was even developed. He started Nature's Way. And she came from the Ojibwe, Minnesota area, Great Lakes tribal grandmother that taught her about plantain and, so many different bushes that we work with and use in our healing modalities and what they do. So I come from this herbalist and this health food store lineage. And why I say that is I have been raw food for 9 months, no dried food, no dehydrated food, only organic. I've experienced how sick I got when I ate non-organic grapes after being raw organic for 9 months, just the amount of reaction my body had to chemicals. You're dormant until you're not. And then when you've cleaned yourself out, your body will say, hey, I don't want that anymore. And it's a big sign. So at the current time where we are in this lifestyle, we're in a place where we're on a paleo phase of the life, but it's no grains, is really bone broth daily from organic bones because we need the cartilage. And it's no greens, it's all sprouts. So we do piles of sprouts with fresh blueberries and sometimes cucumbers. We peel the cucumbers, get the lectins off, everything organic, and smother it with ghee. Because ghee actually creates a lubrication in the bowels and the gut to get the chemicals and the parasites out. They come out thinking they're going to get a steak and butter because ghee is basically clarified butter that the fat's been cooked off and scooped off, and you just have the butter oil. And so the parasites come out like, ooh, where am I going to get food? And there's no food. There's just bone broth and ghee. And they're like looking for some place to lay their eggs, and they can't, and they actually get swept away. So it's a long-range fast. We started 3 months with no meat, just bone broth, ghee, sprouts, sauerkraut, really basic, not very any much fruit.
Right.
Just no sugar spikes, right? Really even. And added, but we always have had blueberries.
Yes.
After 3 months, we were able to add organic turkey for the kidneys with blueberries. There's some reasons why and the rebuild that I needed. And eventually
sprouted seeds
and all sprouted seeds and strawberries. I guess we're really basic. Mangoes, I think, is the other fruit that we've added, but we're not eating a lot of.
We've been doing some dairy from
cultured
Alexander Farms, who
yes,
she's awesome. She really treats her animals very kindly.
Alexander Farms is on regenerative farming, which is above, I think, Oregon Tilth, or right up there's Oregon Tilth regenerative farming, which is above organic.
Right.
And
yes.
That farm doesn't have a single smell the way she does her liquids and solids and enzymes that digest the waste.
Pure.
It's amazing. So those animals are so healthy and happy. We went and saw the babies.
Oh.
They're just outdoors in these. They look like veal containers, but they're not.
Yeah.
And the wind blows through, so they don't need vaccines. They don't get sick. And the chickens are all playing with them. And it's so cute, all pastured, beautiful. So we're doing a lot of just really cartilage joints, like you said, and cleaning chemicals. It's a 5-fold program. Eliminate all chemicals from any food source, eliminate all parasites from the body so that you can regain control of your own consciousness, because parasites have desires and they have thought templates of their own, and they'll encourage people to do anything from drugs to eat Oreo cookies. And there's whole signs about that. So get the parasites out, and then you don't have the heavy influence from within, and you can be, again, sovereign, driving your own ship.
Weird.
And from there, then the yoga activates the dormant genetics and the epigenetics, which help us evolve and youthify. And
sun gazing.
Yeah, we sun gaze morning and night when we can, or at least whenever the sun's out.
Whenever the chemtrails aren't covering the sky.
Right. It's a whole nother topic. And but the light.
For those who are just tuning in, we are here with Noah and Angeli, and we are on the Quality Living Show talking about the most phenomenal ways to activate and live in a full, enriched retreat-style life.
Oh, that is it. Yes. Yes, retreat.
So our listeners are probably just glued wherever they're at, watching the sunset maybe. Who knows what they're doing, but just fully immersed in this conversation, which is so delicious. And tell us more. Tell us more.
Well, eat cultured organic food, because that culture really does repair your gut lining and helps you assimilate. They're friends. The probiotics are your friends.
Yes.
They help you assimilate. We evolved for, thousands, millions of years with fermented food.
Yes. That is a question, is with these foods that you're enjoying, that you're processing, that you're teaching the body how to be so wealthy within itself and pure, is this available at the retreats? Is food part of the retreat, or is it just the shell of the luxury of the nature?
Well, right now, the current estates are short-term rental available. I do stock cleaning products and shampoos and conditioners that are clean and organic. My guests don't always bring those things.
Right.
So I find things, in the use, or sometimes maid teams don't understand. So they'll use some other products, but we're phasing out and kind of making manuals. That's phase one.
The retreats really haven't launched to the degree
That we're teaching in them.
we're doing a lot of trauma clearing lately.
Okay,
So we're working
right.
on a lot of trauma clearing, which you can go into detail about. But yeah, we haven't got the retreat status,
Okay.
We have
venue
the
is there.
estates, and
Right.
we have the curriculum starting to form to really present it,
So juicy.
and we definitely would like to have, I just brought on a couple that's going to be doing organic gardening in the Chico estate, fully putting in food production, farm to table, and he's a chef, so we'll see how it goes. It's brand new. I'm excited. Justin and Julie, they're running some team leadership on our keeping of our estate and hoping to get that farm to table aspect, at least in Chico. In Brookings, I'm not sure. We don't have anybody taking care of the farming side of it, but
Right.
this is a
Yeah, I have a lot of nature going to waste right now.
It's
A lot of fruit trees just sitting there dropping fruit in greenhouses that need to be planted. You were supposed to show up.
Then I did. We need water.
water.
Oh, we need water. That's right. Automated
right.
water.
Automated water is the
Hook up the
really
drip.
key. That's it.
Yeah.
So Brookings is
There
lovely.
has been a couple weddings at the Oregon location.
Really?
I'm looking for a source of lion's mane mushroom for anyone listening that may know locally, because I eat lion's mane mushroom daily in Maui and in Chico. We put it in our soup. That's bone broth soup with big, huge, fat grilled lion's mane mushroom chunks. They're so good. And shiitakes. So those exotic mushrooms, I just don't know where to get them here. And that's part of my staple in my diet.
I would imagine the wild, what is it? The mushroom festival people.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, we're in connect with them.
yes.
Yeah.
It's a little rough in Brookings to get organic food. You're very limited here. Chico.
Listeners, how I bet contact at kciw.org and let us hear your comments about how much you were craving natural, organic, yummy goodness food. We have, in Crescent City. It's a little expensive, Wild Rivers Market.
Yes.
A little bit out of the way. However, right here, Fred Meyer's is trying. They've got that green aisles.
More people need to voice their
Yes, and
their
they
opinions,
can call
I think.
here on the
Yeah.
radio station.
There are buyers co-ops that I've heard of when I was younger, that a person in an area could head off a buyer's co-op and then the truck would come over.
Correct.
So maybe something like
We have
that
Thrive.
could be,
The farmers market has little
sometimes.
pockets of stuff once in a while.
Yeah. Thrive.com is one of those
okay.
buyers markets online that sends.
Thanks for thanks for that. Check it out.
Yeah.
So trauma therapy.
Oh yeah. Let's go into the
Okay,
trauma therapy. That'll be a good one for
Yeah.
people. This is something people need to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, and it's part of the lifestyle that we live, which is any time a thought, feeling, or emotion comes up, or we're having, like, say something happens, and you're just feeling in your gut, I can't let it go, or your mind is grinding because there's an interaction with a human or an experience that is, you just can't stomach it. Is literally the you can't let it go. So I've been studying what's called psychobiology, which comes from a man named Dr. Hammer, and the other name for that is called German New Medicine. And in this, Dr. Hammer proved 200-some case studies for each degenerative condition of the body. And when he first came to this idea, it was he lost his own son, and within a short time developed testicular cancer. And he made the correlation that he'd lost his offspring, and he developed this overgrowth in his
Trauma.
testicular. Testicular cancer. So he started.
It is testicular.
It is testicular, yeah. I didn't want to say that word, but I had to say it. So within that, we've been now learning so many things, like psoriasis, like uncurable conditions with really bad psoriasis. Well, it broke out right after the loss of a loved one, the loss of a mate, the loss of love in the life. A child is the one woman, the child, the custody was split, and her 3-year-old now was gone half the time, and she developed it right where she held her 3-year-old, right in the middle of her heart and her chest on her front.
My friend in Chico, this is like ringing, like just yelling at me. My friend in Chico, she lost her 3rd son. He was 2.5. He drowned. My nephew.
Wow.
And it's his birthday coming up like right now, and it was like a year ago, a full year, maybe 2 years. It's traumatic for myself also, but she developed MS. Her whole entire system shut down, and she's in Chico, and maybe I could like link her with you guys, and I don't know, it's just yelling at me.
Definitely.
That would be awesome, especially I could know what part of the body she's disabled in so far and how accelerated the version
Head to toe, she can't walk. Her legs and her arms, everything. She was in the hospital, like she's back to walking, but she could not move her feet and her arms and her legs, like her extremities.
That only happened 2 years ago or something?
It just happened like just 6 months ago. She got diagnosed,
And she wasn't bit by a tick.
Well, she might have been, but the thing is, MS, there's only one lab, and I believe it's in Nebraska, that tests for all 4 spirochetes that are the cause of multiple sclerosis.
Yeah.
And they replicate at varying rates. So there's a heavily degenerative one that will cause you to become immobile within 6 months. And then there's one that will take, 25 to 30 years before you're in a wheelchair. And there's literally only one lab, and I don't know the name, but I did know a doctor who gave me all the information about it because his brother was with MS. And those spirochetes are very difficult to kill. They burrow in the bone of the spinal column, and they come out to feed twice a day. So to hit them with parasite formula, they build a little cap, and then they go back in the bone, and then they double. And then one comes out and drills a new hole and goes in the bone. So when you get to be a population of, say, 1 million, overnight they become 2 million. And this is then 4 million, then 8 million.
Yeah.
And that's how they take a person out so quickly when their reproductive cycle is accelerated. So there are ways to dismantle the spirochete, but that can be talked about later.
Show.
Right. Yeah. That's
we can't tell those.
No. Yeah. That's different. Yeah. Trauma associated with. Yeah.
Yeah. So so degenerative disease is also the emotional condition. Once again, from the psychobiology, if we can go back and repattern through like a traditional trauma or a therapy session, and I'm clairsentient, so I can talk to the organs of the body and hear what they're saying. The body responds to communication like it is about a second grader. So I just ask the body, and then I talk to the body as if I were talking to a second grader.
Right.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Right.
Please, forgive anything that caused this. And there'll be more because I can see and hear the information, but there's a way to just go through simple processes and tapping, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And these things, as we say them and tap them in, repattern the way our body responds. And honestly, the parasite does no longer match the condition of the mental brain waves, the hormones output of sadness, for example, sorrow, grief. Grief is held in the lungs. Sadness is the kidneys. Stress is the heart. Adrenals is also heart. It is also stress, like men who couldn't not work to provide for their family, so they couldn't take a sick day. Right. Especially like older generation men really suffer that. So they never got to take care of themselves, and this also affects the lifespan. So when we repattern these things, we can help people come into their best health and wealth and healing and mending. Yeah.
It is such a treat and a gift to this earth, and I would call that complete peaceful support. What an honor.
Thank you.
Yeah. And our guests and our listeners would all probably really love to interact with each other. What is a good way for them? Is there a way for them to contact the properties or you, or how can they learn about more of your offerings?
Well, right now I can give you the links to post if you can at the bottom of the podcast or the radio show. Otherwise, I do have on Instagram right now, it's called Zen Mountain Retreat. And the other name, same account, is Farmland Hills Resort. And that is the Chico, California property that I manage the Instagram for right now. My daughter-in-law, Zoe, manages our Brookings property. And so I'd have to get those links from her and how, probably through her Instagram. She has a real estate Instagram, Zoe Bruce.
Yes.
To get in touch with what we have, and she could maybe send the links or I'll get them posted.
Yes, and we'll put them on the podcast.
Reach us out on our Instagram, or that would probably be the best way. Yeah.
Versus getting a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah, exactly. Makes it smart.
We're going to get a website. It's just supposed to happen sometime this year.
My son's building it.
Yeah, so we're working on it, for our offerings. And that'll just keep building. And one day we'll have Activate Your Genetics with the whole menu and the explanations and why and science coming forward.
The education.
Videos of Amanda doing yoga, teaching people.
We'll be doing yoga with Amanda.
Yes,
teaching us yoga.
I am all about it. The more I learn, the more I just tell myself, how do I do this all day? I do this all day, every day. I've probably, the gym's inviting me more hours to be there more, and I'm, at the real estate office, and it's just this crazy tug-of-war game.
Just, just pick a posture wherever you are, right?
Always. That is so true.
Your chair, you can do your lotus sit.
I do.
Yeah.
We have a standing mat. I requested, they got it for Christmas. They'd like this special little, energy giver. It's this mat, and I stand on it instead of my chair. It's so good.
Better for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there any other words of advice or anything you wish to say to the KCIW listeners?
Pray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most important thing to do, because it helps everyone.
Entirely. The universal code.
Yep.
Prayer is a technology. And when we meditate and then set our intention outward, our ask and you shall receive, it really does affect time-space to just get quiet, still the mind, tune into the atoms of awareness that are the all-knowing all around you, and ask. And it changes everything. It really does.
Yes. Beautiful.
We are living miracles.
We are. And it's a miracle to have you in here. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Angelleyana.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.